Okay, I finished covering Kirby Puckett's 12-year career, 1984 through 1995. This video, a recap. How did he do? Ken Arjun here, Vista, California. Thursday, March 27th, 2025. 12-year career for Kirby Puckett. He makes the Baseball Hall of Fame. How about that? How did he do it? Well, he played 1,783 games in 12 years. 7,244 at-bats. A good amount of at-bats. But it's too bad he had to end his career after the 1995 season. He started his career late. He was 24 years old, 1984. He played through 1995, where he's 35. And why did he stop? Glaucoma in one of his eyes. I don't know if it was the left eye or the right eye. I'm not sure. But he got blinded in one eye. Couldn't see. So he had to stop playing. He was on a good pace for stats. 1,071 runs scored in 12 years. That's a good pace. If he had played 20 years, he would have been over the 1,500 runs scored mark, which is a goal that I like for all ball players. 1,500 for your career is a good number. He had 3 seasons over 100 runs scored. He had 2 others that were 90 plus. In 12 years, I would like to have seen 8 or 9 100 runs scored seasons. His high was 119. But 1,000 runs scored in 12 years, good pace. Career hits, 2,304. This is a very good pace that he was on. If you divide the hits by the games played, you'll get a ratio of hits per game played. His ratio, 1.27 hits per game played. That's top 20 all time. Number 1 and 2 are Ed Delonte and Sam Thompson. Their ratio of hits per game was the highest in history, 1.41. Ty Cobb was 1.39. Some of the other Hall of Famers were in the 1.3s. But how about Kirby Puckett, 1.27? He had 5 seasons over 200 hits. He had 4 in a row. He also had 2 other seasons, 190 plus. So 7 out of the 12 seasons, 190 and more hits. His high was 234 hits. That was the year he batted 356. Doubles, 414. He was on a pace for 500 doubles. RBIs. Interesting stat here. 1,085 RBIs. So he gets 1,000 runs and 1,000 RBIs. He was on a good pace. He would have been around 1,500, 1,600 RBIs if he had played 20 years. He had 3 seasons over 100 RBIs. His high was 121. He did have 2 other seasons, 90 plus. So he was an RBI producer. Should have had more 100 RBI seasons, though. I would like to have seen 6, 7, or 8 of them. But he just played 12 years. If Kirby Puckett had played 20, that's 8 more years. I mentioned he had the 2,304 hits. He was on pace for about 3,200 hits if he had played 20 years. Oh, let's see, stolen bases, 134, walks, 450. He had 965 strikeouts, a little high for 12 years. He had some seasons where he struck out over 90 times. That shouldn't happen. He's a contact hitter. He should have cut down on the strikeouts. So I don't like that number 965. 318 career batting average. He had 8 seasons out of the 12 over 300 batting average. His high was 356, had a 1 batting title, 339 batting average. Title won it that year, 1989. Well, you know what's interesting? Kirby Puckett never batted below 288 in a season. He had some 290s, three of them. And then he had one season in the 280s. So he was a bona fide 300 plus batting average leader. 318 career, good number. 360 on base. That should have been 400 career. Wonder why he wasn't on base as much. Never had a 400 on base percentage season. 477 slugging. He's not a slugger, but he did have. I'm looking here. He had a season of 31 home runs one year, and also had a 28 home run season. So that's significant. Total bases 3,453. Looks like he had 4 seasons over 300 total bases. His high was 358. So in 12 years, Kirby Puckett put up some impressive numbers. He made the Baseball Hall of Fame, I think, on 2 factors. The career batting average, 318, and those 5 200 hit seasons, and the 2 others seasons, 190 hits. I really believe that if Kirby Puckett had played 20 to 22 years, he may have approached 3,300 career hits. He was on that pace. But man, glaucoma, have you ever heard of it? Blindness in one eye. Wonder where it was from. Maybe inherited. All right, we're done looking at Kirby Puckett's career. Let's evaluate him and rank him. Where would you put him as far as among the great hitters of the past? Top 35? I think I can think 35 other players. See, his flaw was the 12-year career. Should have been longer. 1,700 games. Should have been about 2,500 games. If he had had that, I'd rank him higher. But since he doesn't have that, also the 965 strikeouts. I mean, he's on pace. If he played 20 years, he may have had 1,400 strikeouts. Way too many. That was the pace he was on. I'd say top 35. I like the 5 200 hit seasons. I like the 8 seasons above 300. I like the fact he never batted below 288 in the season. That's really good. Some players, they stretch out their 20-year career, and a couple of those seasons are like in the 250s, 260s. Not Kirby. He was a good hitter. He had power too some of those seasons. One interesting stat on Kirby Puckett. I didn't know this. 1994 season and played 108 games. Yet he got 112 RBIs. How about that? And then he had other seasons where he played like, well, look at this. He had a season where he played 152 games. So it's like, what is that? It's like 40 more games. Yet he had less RBIs. He had like 85 RBIs in 159 games one year. Yet in the 1994 season, 108 games. It's like 50 games less. 40 to 50 games less. Yet he got the 112 RBIs. That was a really good pace season. If he had played 162 and he was averaging over a RBI per game, he may have had 150 to 160 RBIs that year. Wouldn't that have been a good number on his resume? All right, we're done with Kirby Puckett. What I like to do after I've finished reviewing a player is let you know what I've done in the past. All the players that I'm going to mention right now, I've looked at every box score in every season and devoted a video to these guys on all their seasons. All these guys. I started with episode 1001. Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, Lou Gehrig, Stan Musial, Tris Speaker, Rogers Hornsby, Ted Williams, Tony Gwynn, Ed Delonte, George Sisler, Jesse Burkett, Joe Jackson, Willie Keeler, Billy Hamilton, Harry Heilman, Joe DiMaggio, Bill Terry, Lefty O'Doul, Dave Orr, Dan Brothers, Pete Browning, Nap Lajoie, Al Simmons, Sam Thompson, Camp Hansen, Jimmy Fox, Honus Wagner, Willie Mays, Henry Aaron, Hank Greenberg, Hugh Duffy, Eddie Collins, Paul Wainer, Lloyd Wainer, Chuck Klein, Sam Rice, Roberto Clemente, Henny Manouche, Pete Rose, Rod Carew, and now I just finished Kirby Puckett. What do all these players have in common? They all batted over 300. That's one. Some of these guys have 3,000 hits. And some of these guys, and all of these guys have one unique accomplishment in all their seasons. And I pointed it out when I covered them all. Who's next? Since I just covered someone who made the Baseball Hall of Fame in 12 years, is that a record? Trivia question. Which player made the Baseball Hall of Fame playing the less amount of years? Kirby Puckett made it in 12 years. Do you know who else made it in less years? I'm thinking Sandy Koufax. Remember him? How many years did he play? He made the Baseball Hall of Fame in a short time because he had to retire. But I think he was like 12 years. Koufax, let's see. Yeah, he was 12 years. Is that the record? Is Kirby Puckett and Sandy Koufax hold the record? Fewest amount of years making the Baseball Hall of Fame. No, I think there's another guy. How about Jackie Robinson? He came in late. How many years did he play? He's in the Hall of Fame. 11 years. Is that the record? There's one other guy, have you considered, that made the Baseball Hall of Fame playing in the fewest years. Do you know who it is? Have you heard of a guy named Ross Youngs? It's old school. You may not have heard this guy. This guy played 10 years and made the Baseball Hall of Fame. How did he do it? He's the next guy I'm going to cover on my list, just for the fun of it. We'll knock him out in 10 videos. How did he do it? I'm looking, 322 career batting average, 1,491 hits. Can you think of anybody else in the Baseball Hall of Fame with less service, less than 10 years, making the Baseball Hall of Fame? I'll do some research. Maybe there is a guy. I'd have to look at all the Hall of Famers who are in there and look at all the years. But I think Ross Youngs holds the record. Fewest years in the big leagues making the Baseball Hall of Fame. And then you got Jackie Robinson, 11 years. Sandy Koufax and Kirby Puckett, 12 years. Also, here's a special note. Before I get into Ross Youngs, I want to do something. I've written 10 baseball books. They're available on Amazon. So what I like to do is I want to point out all the books I've written. It's a little hobby I have on the side. I'm going to get all 10 books. I'm going to stack them up. And I'll go over each one of them in a separate video in between Kirby Puckett and Ross Youngs. Okay. I'll do that as a special video. Then after that, I'm going to list all the 10 books and show you the covers and what the book's about. Then I'll get into Ross Youngs. Okay? So we'll talk to you later. Sincerely and respectfully, I'm out.